Welcome to the Electric Playground. Today on the show, we get a double dose of zombies in the rundown.
Plus, Jose tames some wild dinosaurs in Ark: Survival Evolved.
And then we get a look at the coolest toys coming from NECA. Also coming up, Steve and Raju get their zombie on with a review of Coffin Dodgers. Marissa and I unleash the chaos with Chaos Rings 3 and much more today on EP Daily. Brought to you by EB Games. I'm your host, Victor Lucas, bringing you the latest in everything cool every single day. Pro tip for you, when you're running from zombies, it's important not to get cornered. It's also important to have the rundown. Ubisoft is spreading the zombie infection to some new systems. The Wii U launch title ZombiU is officially headed to the Xbox One, PS4, and PC. The new version will offer the entire original game with improved graphics, although the controls will obviously be a little different given the absence of the Wii U touchscreen. ZombiU thrusts players into a zombie apocalypse in London with a unique permadeath feature where you jump from one survivor to the other. It received critical praise, but still suffered from poor sales due to the relatively low install base of the Wii U at launch. Hopefully the port will be more successful. It jumps out on August 18th. And that's not the only undead mayhem on the way. The open-world zombie game Dying Light is getting a massive new add-on called Dying Light: The Following. It will give players a new story campaign set after the events of the main game with a new map that promises to be as big as all the previous locations combined. New features will also be added to the game along with drivable vehicles for the first time. No release date for Dying Light: The Following has been announced, but more details will be unveiled at Gamescom later this week. So lots of zombie love heading our way, and who else to talk about this than my horror-loving friend, Marissa Roberto, who loves being spooked. You're going to just run in the opposite direction for these games, aren't you?
Well, that's the thing. I feel like I would react in the same way in real life to the zombie apocalypse, like I do in-game, just running away, arms flailing.
Well, Dying Light is, well, they're both really, really scary, but Dying Light, I think, was something really special, so I'm very excited about this add-on, and this makes me want to jump right back into the original game because I really enjoyed it, because the animations and the abilities of your character and the speed of the zombies were exhilarating.
I did play ZombiU though before the game actually came out because I was testing it, and it was really cool because I love the way you could use the gamepad.
Yeah.
But I
also
was
terrifying.
Not having it.
And I don't know how they're going to do this without the gamepad because that was a huge chunk of the fear and the terror in that game. You'd be looking at a screen knowing that there are zombies headed your way. You're like, get me into this door.
Exactly. So I'm not sure how they're going to use the game, how they were going to play the game with a gamepad.
But it was a solidly constructed game. It had a little bit of that Dark Souls kind of vibe where you could progress ever so far and then you'd get killed and you'd lose all your stuff, and then the next survivor would go and try to collect all that stuff. And it was a crime. I mean, we loved that game, and it was a real crime that not enough people enjoyed the title, you know?
More people should have played that game because it was one of the Wii U's best titles, and I think still is. So just not for me, obviously.
This news makes me want to play that game again, too. It's crazy.
Just relax on all the zombies.
You know what? Zombies are never going to disappear in video games.
Well, that's true, but I prefer like Plants vs. Zombies zombies and Dead Rising zombies.
The cutesy zombies.
Well, yeah, and more comedic zombies.
All right, well, we're going from zombies to another staple in video games, dinosaurs. Here's Jose with Ark: Survival Evolved.
Dinosaurs with armor is one of the most terrifying things I could ever dream about, and now, courtesy of Ark: Survival Evolved, we have that dream come true. Tell me about this game and why these dinosaurs are so equipped.
Well, the dinosaurs in Ark are the key factor of the game that really makes it unique to us. And you're able to ride the dinosaurs, you're able to put saddles on them. The armor's not in there yet, but it's coming soon. We're hoping to add armor to our dinos over the course of early access. We really want you to treat it like a pet, make it your own, colorize it, give it its own name, its own color scheme, whatever. And so it's a really big factor to how a gamer might engage with our game, almost in a Pokemon way, you know?
Give me a little breakdown about what exactly Ark is. People hear Ark: Survival Evolved. What exactly does that mean?
So Ark started life as a dinosaur shooter, and we realized that we wanted to do more than that. We really like survival games like Rust, DayZ, H1Z1. You know, all of these games have really good survival mechanic, and for Ark, we wanted to make that mechanic be a part of the key gameplay that would then enable further exploration, almost like The Legend of Zelda or something, exploring this overworld. There's caves, there's all sorts of underwater areas, and once you get past the first few hours of gameplay of just surviving, then you use those skills to help you actually explore and discover what else is on the island.
So how much more terrifying does it get besides dinosaurs wearing armor eventually? Because that sounds like one of the things, I mean, that should be it. Like if I'm a person walking around and I see a dinosaur, that's scary. If I see a dinosaur with like a helmet and some leathers on, that's terrifying.
Well, you know what's pretty terrifying is tribes of people banding together with like 10 dinosaurs all coming at you. And you got to build your base if you're playing on a PvP server. You got to set up your defenses. We have ways in the game for you to keep your base safe when you're not logged into the game. And so there's a lot of stuff to do there. Nighttime is really scary too because things come out at night. You know, it's a little more dangerous. You can't see as much. There's a lot of suspenseful moments in the game like that. And then the caves are really scary. There is some creepy stuff in the caves. Snakes, spiders, big bats. Like, it is dangerous down the caves. We don't recommend you try to tackle any caves unless you're pretty high level and got a couple buddies with you.
It's a big year for dinosaurs. The big movie came out. Now we have Ark. How deep are you guys getting with the world of dinosaurs? Are you only selecting a few chosen dinosaurs, or are you guys going to just throw as many as you can in there?
We're doing a lot. We are hand selecting them based on what we think's fun for gameplay, what fans like. The first dinosaurs that are in the game now are really big fan favorites, and we'll be adding about 30 more over the course of early access. And it's not just dinosaurs, you know, there's different types of mammals and insects, and anything prehistoric that's like no longer around on this earth is candidate to be in the game at some point. And so we'll have a lot of that, filling out the world with more ambience. You know, right now there's a lot of big creatures. We're going to add some small ones too. We just announced monkeys for the game. You know, they're not rideable, but they're tameable. There's a lot of fun to be had with stuff like that.
Is this something that does have a final ending, or is it something that you're just going to be able to survive for as long as you can?
So for Ark, we do have an end game specifically that you can go for if you want to achieve the ultimate goals in the game. We've got some boss creatures you can summon, and there's somewhat of an end story to the game that kind of leads on to what stuff might happen in the future. And so that's a goal for us about exploration in the game. By exploring the island, you can find snippets of the backstory and start to piece together what's really happening. And for the gamer who wants to go all the way and discover all of that stuff, we want to reward you with something at the end for all your work of like doing that discovery. It's not just surviving endlessly.
The game is currently on Steam Early Access, and the final version will be out next year.
All right, stick around. When we come back, we've got Steven Raju with a crazy new game called Coffin Dodgers.
Welcome back to EP Daily. Marissa Roberto, what's next, girl?
Okay, well, don't call me girl, number one. Number two, you know, I've had a lot of fun in my day, especially in Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan, because during recess in elementary school, we would play a game called Dodge the Coffin.
Did you have covered wagons back then, yes or no?
Not in my day, but they have some at the Western Development Museum. Either way, let's head to Toronto now because Steven Raju have got a review of Coffin Dodgers.
Now, when I'm old and retired, what I want to do is I want to get my little scooter and race around the streets against the other people in my retirement home. Today, we are doing that virtually in a game called Coffin Dodgers. This is a PC game. You can find it on Steam and the usual places. It is a kart racing game in which you are old people in your scooter thingies racing against other old people, whacking them with canes, shocking them with your defibrillator pumps, and you're essentially literally racing death. Death is going to claim the souls of those who do not perform well in the Coffin Dodgers races. Now, we've seen a lot of games like this before.
No. I've seen one game like this. The only game that matters is called Mario Kart. Like 5 years ago, there was like thousands of different kart racers because you wanted to try and take on Mario Kart. And guess what? They all lost, okay? I'm gonna give this game 3 points. 1, I do like that they have given the elderly the spotlight. There's a lot of age discrimination in the world, and there's not a lot of games that feature old people. I think this game deserves points for that.
That's true.
I also do like the Grim Reaper being a character. I think that is actually kind of awesome. When you're going by people, you can charge up and knock them over with your cane. That I like too. There's a cartoony style here that looks pretty much like it belongs on like the PS2.
Yeah.
You know, the tracks are nothing to write home about.
When this game actually starts, like when you do your first sort of flyover of the little town that you're racing at, I'm like, this actually looks pretty good. I like the style. I love the premise of this. This is going to be a lot of fun. I don't want to bash anybody for making games. If you have a game in your heart that you want to make, and it's got a really original premise, like old people racing the Grim Reaper, go for it.
And honestly, as I'm playing this game, I'm like, why am I not playing Mario Kart? Why am I playing Little Big Planet? Why am I playing Mod Kart Racing? Like, there's so many other racing games that are much better, much more technically better. And like, again, I come back to like the only soft spot I have is that it's kind of neat that they're old characters.
You go through the town, there's a graveyard level, there's like a farm level. They're all basically the same. They're all just like tracks that have really sharp, blind corners. And, you know, the physics are wonky. It's really easy to get hung up on corners and knocked off your scooter. We come to this again and again on the show. You're in a genre that is so established and so dominated by a single franchise and many other copycats that have been pretty good. When you release something like this that is, I'm sorry, super substandard, it controls really poorly, and there's literally nothing original about this game other than the nature of the racers and the nature of some of the power-ups. Everything else is just the template done with absolutely no adornment.
It's a somewhat competent kart racer, but other than sort of the old people and being able to wipe people out with their cane, no, there's not much that I particularly liked.
I'm right there with you.
Well, you know, it really sounds like this game has us rolling over in our graves.
It did not fill me with any kind of youthful vigor, that's for sure. What are you going to give Coffin Dodgers?
4 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm right there too. 5 out of 10 for me.
Thanks, Stephen, Raju. You both look beautiful. So happy to have you on the show. Mwah! Mwah, mwah, mwah. Kiss romance.
Oh, you're so sweet to them.
Romance.
It's time for some NECA toys. Victor Lucas got a chance to catch up with Randy Falk.
Always a big presence as NECA Toys. Randy Falk, our old friend, is back with us again. Now tell us, what are you guys showing off that you're really excited about at SDCC?
Well, I'm pretty excited about everything, but a few of the big, unbelievable reveals we have. A Halo Needler, full-size replica of the in-game weapon, so it lights up. The needles are motorized, they drop down row by row. It has LEDs, it has sound, and we're launching that in October, right around the time the new Halo game drops. We have a 2-foot-tall Incredible Hulk from Age of Ultron, which is insane. It's probably the biggest action figure ever done. Bigger than a toddler, really. It's like buying a kid as a toy. And you could probably put little kids' clothes on it even. It's insane. That thing's fully articulated, looking at a Christmas release on that. Wow. And then just continuing killing with Alien and Predator. We've got Ripley finally joining the ranks. So we've got Sigourney Weaver's likeness. We've got a power loader to go with the Queen. We've got alien eggs sold in Weyland-Yutani egg cartons. We're doing AVP Predators from the AVP film. We're doing some stuff with Dark Horse Comics from Alien and Predator as well. Pacific Rim is still going strong. So really a really strong showing with something for everybody.
I love these large-scale figures that you've been doing. I bought the Arkham Origins one. It sits prominently on my shelf and appears in our podcast every week. But tell us about these large-scale. Where did you guys kind of tap into that and realize that people were totally cool with making the shelf space for those things?
Well, it started with horror-based licenses. We were doing Freddy and Jason and Pinhead and stuff like that in that format years ago. Yeah. And now with how big Marvel and DC has become, especially in the film world, they have big multi-million-dollar deals with the Hasbro and Mattel for all the regular range, but they were able to license quarter scale to us. So that means is the figures are 18 inches and above, and they're about $100 price points, but that's where we've gone in these last couple years. So now we've been covering Michael Keaton Batman, Christian Bale Batman, Arkham Origins like you mentioned. We have Arkham Knight here on display at the show, which comes out this month. And we're doing Chris Reeve Superman, which is just hitting, Danny DeVito Penguin, Robert Downey as Iron Man, and covering everything from the film worlds of Marvel and DC in quarter scale. And we're doing Alien and Predator to go along with them. They're $100, but great value for what you get, fully articulated, and they're centerpieces to your collection.
I'm curious about the Arkham Origins Batman. I couldn't believe that thing when I took it out of the box. It's cooler out of the box. It looks amazing and impressive, but when you put it up on and stand it up, right. So much articulation, so much detail. How did that particular figure do for you guys?
It did really well, actually. Matter of fact, that was the third one we did. We did an Adam West and we did a Michael Keaton, and the Arkham Origins did better than West and Keaton combined. Wow. It's the strength of the game for one, and the younger audience doesn't know West, and in some cases doesn't even know Keaton. Yeah. So like the 13 or 14-year-old knows Arkham because they've been playing the game. So Origins killed for us, and that's when we came time to do Arkham Knight. We're like, we got to really up the game even further. It has more articulation, incredible detail, and even the accessories have features to them. The Batarang is hinged. You can put it in his hand or put it in a clip on his belt. The grapnel gun has different attachments for it.
Now, Pacific Rim, obviously, a huge franchise for you guys. Those in large scale also make a lot of sense. I have a Gypsy Danger, which is also incredible.
With those, when we worked really close with Guillermo del Toro and we talked about a lot of the stuff we remember from our childhood or cool toys in the 70s, let's make some of the robots that big so you have that sense of scale, which is cool. Because Pacific Rim, it's 2 years since the film and we're still going strong with the toy line.
Oh, look at Victor Lucas. He has such a dewy glow about him when he talks about toys, doesn't he?
Listen, up next, we're going to review Chaos Rings, which is also the name for a part of my body. You think about what it might be after this. Welcome back to EP Daily. Chaos Rings is back on the iPhone. It's one of the most expensive iPhone games we've ever had before. Is it worth the $20? Vic and Marissa have the answer.
EP's mobile coverage is brought to you by Gameloft, makers of Asphalt 8 Airborne, which you can play on your Android or iOS device for free right now. Square Enix is taking mobile gaming very seriously. The latest case in point is Chaos Rings 3, which is a massive role-playing game in a very, very big role-playing series now on the iPhone. This is a bit different than the previous Chaos Rings games.
I mean, this is just something that Square Enix does, and they know how to do, and you can see their formula at work here. They've done this before, though, even in the App Store, where it's a lot of dough. You're spending a lot of dough to jump into this game. We should say off the top, this is $23 in the App Store.
Which
is
a
lot of cashish.
It's a lot of dough, and it's, you know, especially compared to everything else that you can get out there, but it's also a lot of game, and it's also a little bit weird because in the fundamental kind of game sort of sequences within this title, you can kind of see that perhaps this started life as a free-to-play type of diversion with lots of time-limited little bonuses that you could buy and things like that. Now you use in-game currency, but it feels like at one point in the development of this title, you would have paid for those things as you went along. But now you get the whole deal for $23.
Which is good. I just hope they don't implement that later.
No,
like
I don't think they will.
Because you're spending a lot of dough here, and I really hope that they don't. But putting that aside, this game feels like, and I've played a Chaos Rings game before, it really has this feeling of Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, like they kind of had a baby and this is what they made.
Right.
Because you have the turn-based strategy here when you're playing, when you're fighting.
Yep.
Yeah, with random battles that you run into along the way. Those are fun and those are entertaining for sure, and I'm into the characters, and you have this whole system of genes, and that's something that's new.
Which are playing cards, and some of them you can fuse together, and they're basically the magical powers that you can pull out, and it depletes the magic power that you have. And those effects are all beautiful and fun, and that's the other thing about this game is, like, production quality-wise, this is some of the best stuff you're going to find on an iPhone game right now.
It's true. It looks really good, but you have to ask yourself, though, how much time are you going to be spending with this thing?
Right.
Because if you can't spend the time with it, there really is no point in you doling out that kind of cash. Like, you really need to invest into this game.
You got to be into Japanese RPGs and mobile gaming and have the time to play this and not be playing it on the consoles. But it is interesting to see that Square is, you know, not so quietly shifting its focus in this direction. This is available for Android. It's available for iOS. And, you know, quite frankly, this is some of the strongest mobile role-playing you're going to get right now. It's incredible.
It's true. It is a lot of fun, and it did keep me entertained. I absolutely love the characters here as well. But it's not a surprise to me. I knew exactly what I was getting into when I got into this game. But for anybody out there who loves Square Enix, who loves these JRPGs, yes, of course, pick up this game. Are you kidding me? You're going to have such a great time. It's just not a game for me.
I think there's tremendous value for the dollar in this equation.
Well, yeah, of course, especially if you're comparing it to a console game, which this essentially is in your iPad.
It's a console game, I mean, it really is. I ended up having to skip through some of the battles because of repetition. Got a little boring that way, but I've always felt that way with a lot of random battles like this. I still think this is remarkable, and I think it's amazing that Square Enix is not taking this lightly. You know, they're taking this platform and saying, no, premium games can exist very well there. Thank you very much. I
applaud the effort here, and I applaud the team that made this game for sure. It's just not a game for me. What are you scoring Chaos Rings 3?
It's an 8 for me. What are you giving it?
It's a 7.
Great job on the review, guys. And Marissa, you are signed up now for Chaos Rings 4. Up next, the Twitter question of the day after this.
If you want more EP, go to our website, epn.tv, for bonus content and full episodes. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. Welcome back to EP Daily. It is time for our Twitter question of the day. This one's from our pal Vince Shully. It's at Vince Shully. How do you guys come up with a new way to introduce the rundown every day?
Oh,
good question,
okay.
right?
Well, we should give credit where credit is due. That belongs to Blake Siefkin. He is a clever man, and you actually see him on Vic's Basement sometimes.
Yes, you do. And he's fantastic at coming up with great introductions, but also finding us great stories to talk about in the rundown.
That's true. That's all Blake.
He's very tapped in, and he's we really would have a serious problem making this show every day if we didn't have his wits and his charm.
Oh, for sure.
And his ability.
Well, okay, well, let's hold the brakes on the charm.
We love the guy.
We love Blake, but like, you'll just watch Vic's Basement. You'll see. You'll see.
He's got a certain kind of charm. Hey, remember, you can get caught up on full episodes of EP at epn.tv. You can also ask us Twitter questions there if you'd like.
I love you, Blake. We've got more coming for you in the next episode of EP Daily, included behind-the-scenes look of Fantastic Four.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
EP would like to thank its sponsors, Nintendo, Xbox.
I want you to meet my daughter, Sue.
There aren't that many women in superhero films, and so, you know, when one comes along, for me, because I love those kind of movies, I definitely was excited about the chance to play her. I was more excited about the chance to play her after hearing Josh's take on it, and I'm more interested in really grounded films that are super raw and dark.
You locked the four of us away, but we're not the ones you should fear. We do it our way.
What if we say no?
Say yes. He doesn't take himself too seriously. You know, he's very passionate about his life. You know, he's very, you know, optimistic. You know, he just wants to be taken seriously, I think. He wants to be taken seriously, but he has a lighthearted nature about himself. So it's kind of like it's a balance. You can never really have Johnny figured out. You know?